Good evening, Central Illinois. Good evening, Sports 2.0 Network listeners. It is the Thursday edition of the Saturday Morning Show with Colten Kahler. I am your host, Colten Kahler, and I'm joined tonight by the veteran Rodney Neuple. Rodney, thank you for taking time out of your busy evening as a dad and joining me here.
Yeah, man, I love it. I love coming on, love talking sports. Yes, I got 3 of them. I think they ran to Walmart real quick. I told them I got about 40 minutes just to kind of, you guys go away for a little bit. So fortunately, I've got an understanding wife that knows that this is going to go on, so she's going to take them somewhere. But yeah, we're ready to rock and roll. Thanks for having me on, and I'm really excited about football tonight.
Best part about being a parent is just being able to, I got to go work, just shove them off and let them deal with somebody else for 40 minutes.
Yeah, well, I work from home. I mean, my wife's pretty understanding because I stay home with one of them almost all day. Now she does a little bit of preschool 2 days a week, but she kind of understands when, there's a little too much kid action right now. Just take them for a little bit. And she works away from the house, so she'd like to have a little bit more time with them. It's kind of a nice little setup, but I'm fortunate to be able to just, when this is going on, just go on for a little bit, guys.
We'll get to our headlines here. I will say, but before we start, I am wearing a Cowboys jersey. Yes, I'm a big Zeke Elliott fan, not a Cowboys fan. We're going to put that on the record, okay? Because my first headline is going to my Baltimore Ravens. They announced today that they've lost both Gus Edwards and Marcus Peters on back-to-back plays to 2 torn ACLs. Just brutal. Brutal.
That's brutal. Yeah, that's brutal. I mean, now you're looking at like a Le'Veon Bell situation, and he hasn't been super effective over the last couple of years. But as I told you before the show, Colten, there is really just a handful of guys that I could still trust in this league to guide the team where you want it, and that is Harbaugh. I think he does a great job as the head coach there. Now, not khaki Harbaugh in Michigan. I mean, maybe they're both khakis. Anyways, not the Michigan, but I do like Coach Harbaugh, and I love what he's doing for the Ravens. So I still think they're going to be the team to beat out in that division. I still have a feeling.
Might be able to see Lamar throw the ball a little bit more this year. You might have to, because you're not going to want him running, 30-plus times a game.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're going to have to be careful of. Don't panic. Don't panic and give Lamar the ball too much and get him hurt, because you've got to have Lamar. You've got to have Lamar into the playoffs. Like we've seen, it's not going to work if your starting quarterback is not available in the playoffs. It's just not. Your backup quarterbacks don't go to do what you need to do very often. Maybe there's a dream situation where it happens, but you need that quarterback. So you really need to pace Lamar. And as a Ravens fan, I guess for you, I'd just say maybe pace yourself and your expectations a little bit. And maybe you find a way to sneak a couple out. You don't think they're real good, but keep in mind, you really only need to get about 9 or 10 wins. Find a way, win 9 games, get into the dance.
That is true, but I will say that the division is going to be tough. I mean, yes. Cleveland's going to be better. You would assume Pittsburgh would be a little bit better after their hot start and ugly finish last year. So, I mean, you're going to have to be, at least somewhat competitive, in those games to try and make it in the playoffs.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. In the NFL, there is no hiding from talent. I mean, really, no matter what, you're facing talent every week. I mean, that's the problem. And even now in week 1, I mean, there's so many questions going to Vegas, and that crowd is going to be amped up in Vegas. I still have a little trust in Gruden to have his team prepared. And as the underdogs, I think the Raiders are going to certainly be ready for them. And then looking ahead at the Ravens, you're staring at the Chiefs in week 2. So, and I know the Lions are after that. You got the Broncos in there. So there are some winnable games. But if you don't win in Vegas, you're looking at 0-2 to start the year, and that's never good in the NFL. And 0-2 is not a good start.
No, it's not. But when, you would like to get the win in Vegas. We've lost to the Chiefs, I believe, 3 years in a row. That series is not pretty. But then you get, back to, a little bit weaker of a schedule for the Ravens. But again, losing your best corner, and you've already lost 2 running backs for the year, and now you lose a third. Not starting off hot. at
No,
all.
no, definitely not. Definitely not. But I think in the NFL, we've seen that running backs can be disposable at times. You can find guys, especially if you've got a line, especially if you've got a scheme in the offense that can figure things out. So, but I think the Peters injury is more important than both those running backs injuries. I mean, that's a big loss. So yeah, I mean, you're not starting hot. You are correct there.
We'll move on to our next headline. David Backus, one that we are both familiar with, signs a one-day contract with the Blues to retire. The longtime captain of the St. Louis Blues, a figment of my childhood. I mean, a legend in St. Louis.
Yeah, he is, and it's ironic that the Blues ended up winning the cup against him when they did get that cup. David Backus, I'm glad this happened. He's a Minnesota native, but now I feel like he kind of quote unquote belongs to the Blues. He's probably going to be at all the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of Fame, but the alumni things and the Blues do a good job of this where they, get alumni together. I think you'll see him at games. They may even bring him on as an advisor at some point. So yeah, I like this. I think from all indications, he's a stand-up guy. Had a great career. There's my dog. Had a great career with the Blues, and that's good news and fun news there for David Backus.
We'll run through these next headlines real quick. U.S. men's soccer beats Honduras last night on a phenomenal second half, 4-1 final score for that one. Novak Djokovic continues his run in another Grand Slam with another win in the U.S. Open. The U.S. Ryder Cup team was announced yesterday. No Patrick Reed on that team. No Kevin Kisner or Kevin Ncaa.
Yeah, so I personally like Kevin Ncaa a lot. Do I think he belongs on the team? Probably not. I know, and you're going to know this more than I. Does Kisner belong?
From a team morale, yes. Is he a better player than maybe a Brandt Snedeker, a Daniel Berger? I don't know. I mean, Kevin Kisner has kind of been one of those guys that's always been in there. He, in team events can go out and get you a point, and maybe he's a guy that you kind of send off first in a matchup. Tanner here is saying Kisner is the man. I absolutely love Kevin Kisner. I love Kevin Kisner.
Yeah.
But to put him on the team, I don't know. I like him a lot. So we'll see.
Yeah, I know that was kind of the big discrepancy is whether he belonged or not, and I mean that's going to be Steve Stricker, right? Steve Stricker had a tough. I mean, the United States has so many great golfers. I mean, it would be like picking a starting lineup of the 5 best NBA players. Like, it's impossible. We all have different opinions. I mean, it's like picking the lineup in an all-star game. It's impossible. I mean, you're going to be wrong no matter what, and I guess for him, I hope he's not wrong and they win. I mean, if they don't win, he's going to be wrong. I mean, that's just a matter of fact. And, I like the team. I like the chances. I think it should be fun. What is it at Wisconsin in a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, Whistling Straits, I think, here at the end of September or end of October, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But I can't remember who said it yesterday, but I heard someone, they made a great point that, while Scotty Scheffler may be a rookie, and if you remember to the WGC match play, he took down John Rahm and he took down Ian Poulter. 2 guys right there. Took down Jason Day as well. So if you're looking for someone at match play, I mean, you can't go in a much worse direction than Scotty Scheffler, or much better direction, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, he's been great, and yeah, you're right. I mean, he's very important to that team, and it'll be fun to watch. It's fun to read all of the not controversy, but discussions on it. Now we're ready to just see some golf, and I think we'll be ready. Obviously, with football going on, we may not remember a whole lot, until it's here. But I think that weekend will be pretty big. We'll really enjoy the golf that weekend.
We're going to flip to baseball here real quick because then we're just going to hit football for the rest of the show. Obviously, with tonight being the NFL kickoff, we'll have that going on. But there's a few things I want to get to in baseball. One, Hall of Fame yesterday, inductions. Derek Jeter, Ted Simmons, and Larry Walker inducted into the Hall of Fame. And for an organization, if you will, an association that relies on it honestly needs viewership.
Yeah.
Why are they doing their Hall of Fame inductions on a Wednesday in September at 1:30 for Derek Jeter, arguably one of the better players we've seen in our lifetime?
Yeah, I thought it was odd, and I'll be honest, I forgot it was happening until like I kept seeing on Twitter, "Oh, Hall of Fame speech, Hall of Fame." Oh, yeah, that happened today. Like yeah, it just they didn't hype it up. They didn't, there was no big, hoorah about it. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Major League Baseball, I think, missed the mark on that one, but a good class. I mean, and I'm a big Larry Walker fan. And his time in St. Louis was short, but that guy was a consummate professional. He really could hit. He could play. He could play the outfield. He threw the ball really well. So big Larry Walker fan. But yeah, Derek Jeter, one of the biggest names you'll see in our era going into the Hall of Fame, and most people didn't even know it happened. So yeah, kind of disappointing there for Major League Baseball.
Cardinals today win 2-1, I believe, over the Dodgers. They tie that series 2-2. Lost the first two and win the last two. Arguably, it could have been the last time we ever see Albert Pujols step in the box at Busch Stadium. I hope not. But what were your thoughts on the series?
Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting because I think if you come into this and you say the Cardinals are going to split with the Dodgers in a 4-game series, you probably take it. I mean, you really do, but I think the way it happened, obviously falling in the first two, and it was the third and fourth straight that you're like, ew, yuck. But I'll split with the Dodgers all the time. Now that we didn't see the Dodgers best after the first two, we kind of dodged a bullet with Urias not pitching today and going with Gonsolin. But I mean, it didn't matter. He only gave up 2 runs. He didn't even get up to 2 runs. But I mean, the Cardinals did what they needed to do, I think, in this series is win 2 out of 4. But let's look ahead at the Cardinals. So Cincinnati this weekend, San Diego next weekend, and truly, I think you have to win 5 of those. 4 is fine. You can probably still stay alive with 4. Let's say you beat Cincinnati twice. You do okay at the Mets next week, and then you beat San Diego twice, then you might be right there. But if status stays quo, where Cincinnati and San Diego maybe win a couple games next week, like I don't know if 4 is enough. I think you got to win 5 to get there. I mean, if you do win 5, theoretically, let's say you win 2 this weekend. Now you're only a game behind Cincinnati. You win all 3 next weekend against San Diego. You could essentially be in that wild card spot with 2 weeks to go. So big weekend this weekend and next, both home series in St. Louis. So let's go Cardinals.
Yes, let's go Cardinals. One question, you kind of talked about it last night on your show with Eric. Even if there is no DH, do you still go after Pujols next year as a kind of a bat off the bench, occasional play first base, depending on the contract situation?
I don't. I don't have a need for him if he's going to sit 80% of the year. I just don't. Now, Matt Carpenter's been that way. I mean, Matt Carpenter isn't half the legend that Albert Pujols is. So, I mean, if it happens, it happens. I am not going to be opposed to bringing Albert Pujols in, really. So if it happens and there's no DH, I'm not going to be against it. But I don't do it if there's no DH. I just don't see a spot. I just don't see a need for him. If you're going to be, if Paul Goldschmidt's going to play 120 games and you're only going to use Albert in 40 plus a pinch hit here or there. I mean, your reason for Albert Pujols, and Albert's not going to want to do that. Albert has, if he plays next year, he's got 2 goals in mind. Number 1 is 700.
Right.
And number 2 is if he can get another ring, yay. I mean, great. I mean, he's got a chance to win a ring this year just hanging on with the team. So, but if the Cardinals do bring Albert in, I think you have to go even more improve the team. I mean, I've already said with Yachty and Wainwright doing the reunion, the farewell tour next year, you have to put as much talent around them as possible. You are cheating them. You are cheating your organization if you don't go get another stud, whether that's a shortstop, whether it's an outfielder, whether it's an ace, whether it's a closer. You've got to go get a stud. And if Albert comes in, I think you've got to go get 2 more studs. You have to give him a chance to win a ring in St. Louis in his final year. It's just as simple as that.
Yes. And even their former manager, Tony La Russa, said that Albert needs to end his career in St. Louis. And whether that, we see a one-day contract, kind of like we see with David Backus. But I think if he's going to go out, he needs to go out with the two guys that he really started everything with, in my opinion. And selfishly, from my childhood, in just pure fandom standpoint, I would love to see that.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. I mean, it really comes down to what Albert wants to do. Does he want to come back next year or not? If he doesn't want to come back, it's a moot point.
Right, exactly. We'll move on. That's about all, baseball thoughts that I had. We'll get to NCAA football real quick. Week 1 in the books. What were your thoughts?
Alabama is just better than everybody else. I mean, and it's frustrating if you're not an Alabama fan, I think. I mean, but on the same token, if you like competitive sports, you have to marvel at what they do. I mean, they're just incredible. And Miami's not back. I mean, the U's not back, but Alabama running them over. I don't see anybody beating them. I mean, the only other threat right now is Clemson, and they look terrible. They're 0-1. So, I mean, I like college football. I like Saturdays, but Alabama being that much better than everybody, to me, is just not all that fun.
Now, and I answered the question that you asked me on, I believe, your show when I came on the put the kids to bed. And you asked if I had a second team after Illinois, and I was like, I don't think I do. But that is wrong. If I did have a second team, it is Oklahoma. My girlfriend is a huge Oklahoma fan, so as a good boyfriend, I support and watch
gotta
Oklahoma
do what you gotta do.
Bit. Yeah, got to do what you got to do. So, but is there a team that you kind of in college football you like?
I mean, I kind of started liking Central Florida when my brother lives in Orlando, and then it kind of coincides, with their run. So I mean, would I say I'm a Central Florida fan? Probably not, because I don't want to be known as a bandwagoner. Oh, they were good, I liked them. But I mean, I root for them to win. I don't mind the U. I wish they would be better. I like Oklahoma. I'm okay with that because my allegiances, sit with Kansas basketball. I can't be a Kansas football fan. I mean, they just don't allow you to be. They win one game a year. So, outside of that, no. I mean, I just watch. I bet, and that's who I'm rooting for. If I bet a game, that's who I'm rooting for.
You're a businessman. You're not a fan.
Yeah, and that's why the orange and blue diamonds. I mean, if I bet them, I got to root for them. So it's better just to stay away.
And if I were you, I would not be betting with the orange and blue diamonds this weekend because a 1-2 start is looking them right in the face. Right in the face.
Yeah, and I don't know a lot about Virginia, to be honest with you. I mean, I know they're a Power 5 school out of the ACC. I know that they've just kind of been okay for years. I'm looking them a little bit up now. They're 1-0 on the year. Who'd they beat? They beat William and Mary. Yeah, but the only thing I do know about Virginia football is Chris Long. Chris Long went to Virginia, and I like Chris Long. So go, what is it?
Cavaliers.
Who's?
Cavaliers.
They say like the Who's or something. I don't know how that works, but yeah, go Cavaliers. What is that, a 10 o'clock start?
Yeah, 10 o'clock start Central Time. It'll be 11 o'clock Eastern Time. Illinois will not have – it will be Art Sikowski again starting at quarterback. There will be no Mike Epstein this week, no Keith Randolph. Injuries hit Illinois a little hard last week. It'll be interesting to see how they respond from a loss to looking back, a good UTSA team. Which begs the question, how bad is Nebraska? And I'll leave it at that.
Illinois they host Maryland in week 3, and they've got at Purdue. Both games I think they could win, and then Charlotte in week 5. So, not all is lost. I mean, even if you are 1-2, you do have that possibility of bouncing back. You are staring at Wisconsin, Penn State later in the year, which is not pretty. But it was a rebuilding year for the Orange and Blue. You knew that. We all knew that, and it was false hope for Brett Bielema. I mean, Brett Bielema is a good coach. I don't get me wrong. I like him significantly better than Lovey, but it was false hope when they won their first one. Oh, this guy has completely turned the program. I mean, come on. Is one game. So I think last I checked, and you can't legally bet on this in Illinois, which that's a different story for a different day. Last I knew that the Cavaliers were a 10-point favorite at home. So I think I'll take the Cavaliers with how banged up Illinois is.
Yes, I even a healthy Illinois, I would probably take the Cavaliers minus 10.
Yeah, I would think so.
Even as an Illinois fan.
I would think so. I mean, but what I do know about Virginia football is they've never, well, no, I can't say never. They've never really been high scoring team. I mean, obviously they scored a ton of points on William and Mary, but who cares? I don't feel like they're like the Oklahoma type team where, they might put 60 up on you. I could see a 31-14 type game. But yeah, I'm taking Virginia.
Quickly, you mentioned Alabama and how much it kind of sucks to watch them be so good. And, well, if you ask the Alabama head coach, he was not pleased with his team effort so far this year. Did you see that headline today where he was not happy with his team and their intensity so far in the year? Alabama won last week 44-13 over Miami. It's just tough.
Yeah, you hate to see you feel so bad for Nick Saban and all the talent he's got there. But Nick Saban's a genius in the coaching world. I mean, he's going to go down to like our kids and grandkids generation as like the John Wooden of football. I mean, he is like, he's going to be the guy. I mean, when we look at, hey, who did our dads watch? And who did they like as football coach? Like, who were the stud football coaches? It's gonna be Nick Saban. Period. I mean, and whether you like the way he handles some of the things he does, whatever, the guy wins. The guy knows how to motivate, and I think he, for the most part, he does it right. So, the quote is to try to get 21-year-olds to try hard, to play harder. It is what it is. I mean, he's looking 13 games down the road. He's looking at getting them to work harder. Really all there is to it.
3 upset alerts I have possibly for this weekend. You have Buffalo at Nebraska. Buffalo, the last few years, been a good team. They've gone through a coaching change. I believe lost their star running back. But still, in my opinion, could be on upset alert. Possibly Arkansas over Texas.
Yeah,
Texas
I can see
on
that.
The road. Arkansas with a week 1 win, and then Northern Illinois over Wyoming. Northern Illinois went on the road last week at Georgia Tech, and brought home the victory. And who knows what we'll see out of Wyoming, but those are 3 possible upsets I could see happening this weekend.
Really bad weekend for the ACC with that Georgia Tech loss. Mixed in with the Clemson loss, mixed in with the North Carolina loss. And I know North Carolina was a conference game, but North Carolina was supposed to be a power in that conference this year. So a bad weekend for the ACC. They will need to bounce back. Somebody like Virginia, they need some wins. I like your Arkansas pick. I don't know about Nebraska losing. That's a 2-touchdown game. I don't know. I think Scott Frost with that loss did get a little wake up to his guys. I think they'll be okay. Iowa State's interesting to me. How good is Iowa State is the question. We'll find out. Iowa State's a 4.5-point favorite at home. Rivalry game. That seems like a lot of points. I could see this game coming down in the end. So that's an interesting game to me.
That Iowa State game will be good, and I think that probably would have caught my attention a little bit more had they not been moved the rankings so close to each other. Iowa, their offense didn't really look that great in week 1. It was their defense that had 2 pick sixes, so there's 2 touchdowns right there when they roll Indiana. And obviously, Iowa State did not look great, barely escaping by Northern Iowa. So it'll be a good game. It's a rivalry game. It's usually a low-scoring affair between those 2 teams.
Yeah.
And we'll just have to see where things go from there. But we're going to move on to the NFL here, and we're going to start with Colton's top 10.
Okay.
Last week I debuted it. We're just going to repeat it this week, so we'll go a little bit quicker. Probably could shake it up a little bit, but I'm going to stick to my guns. We're going to go with the same lineup. We have an honorable mention to the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
At number 11. Could be debatable, but at number 10, I got the Dallas Cowboys. And the only reason I put them at 10 is because of my expectations I have for them. With hopefully Dak being healthy now, if you get the offensive line going, obviously they won't have Zach Martin tonight. They've got a tough, road ahead of them tonight against the Buccaneers. But you have to win right now with the group that you have. And the precedent has been set, and you need to be a top team in the NFL to win your division. So it's kind of why I have put them there, only because of the expectations I hold for them.
Yeah, I mean, and Mike McCarthy's got to win. I mean, it is what it is. They brought him there to win games. So we'll see. I don't know, man. Dallas at 10 seems a little high, but we'll see tonight. Well, they need to compete tonight. They can't get blown out.
No, they have to put up points because they're going to give up points by the boatload.
Correct.
But we'll see. At number 9, I've got them ranked pretty low. One of your Super Bowl teams. I've got the Los Angeles Rams at number 9. Defensively, they're going to be good. I really don't think you get that much better with Matthew Stafford. I really don't.
Over Jared Goff. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, and week 1's going to be interesting because it's the Bears, and the Bears know Matthew Stafford pretty well. So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, if Sean McVay is as genius as people think he's going to be, I mean, doesn't he need to get back to a Super Bowl with the new quarterback? I don't know. I like him. I like their
score more than 3 points this time.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I don't hate to see it. I do hate to see it because I don't like the Rams at all. They left me like a long lost girlfriend. They left me, but I do think they're going to be better. But we'll see. 9 probably about right for them to start the year. I'm okay with that.
I do think they will be better, but I think they're being a little bit overhyped with Stafford. And, we'll see where it goes. But they are going to be playing in the toughest division in football. I think the NFC West is by far the toughest division in football.
I agree.
At number 8, I've got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, the defense is going to be what we think it is. We already know what that's going to be, a top-tier defense.
Yep.
It's really going to depend on if they can get Najee Harris going, if, Kendrick Green at the, what we think is the starting center. We'll see if he can get going. It'll be interesting because it's going to solely rely on their offense because last year they got off, to 11-0 start, but it wasn't a pretty 11-0 start. Kind of like Alex Reyes' save record. It wasn't pretty, but you got there.
Yeah.
So their offense is going to have to turn it around, for them to not fall flat on their face like they did last year. At number 7, I've got San Francisco. I think they're going to be better if they're able to stay healthy. Raheem Mostert was going to be a force to be reckoned with last year before he tore his ACL. And it sounds like Jimmy G is going to be QB1 over Trey Lance. I think that's kind of the direction they're going. And they're a team that's, 3 years removed from the Super Bowl? 2 years? Yeah. I mean, they're right there. They've just got to put the pieces together and kind of pick back up where they were a few years ago. I think injuries kind of derailed them last year, and then Jimmy G did not play as well as I'd hoped, and it just kind of fell flat from there. But they, again, at the end of the year, they were kind of in that race, for wild card expectations. And number 6, I got, Seattle, another NFC West team. I think they'll be better as long as they don't give up, 500 yards of total offense almost every game like they did last year. You're going to have a chance with Russell Wilson in that offense. So put them up there at number 6. Number 5, I got Green Bay. I mean, they play in the NFC North, not great, but it is what it is. You know, they're going to get at least probably 6 wins in their conference. They might drop one to the Bears, possibly. They might possibly drop one. They always seem to lose one to the Vikings. I don't know what it is, but Aaron Rodgers' last hoorah in Green Bay. They've got to go out with a bang, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree.
They're a lock for the NFC Championship, but getting past that point, we'll see.
Yep.
At number 4, I've got Baltimore. They easily could be moved down now, but I'm going to stick to my guns as a fan. My bias is going to shoot in there, but if you have to win right now with Lamar because he's not going to last forever. So you've got to find a way. Number 3, I've got Buffalo. They were, right there with Kansas City last year. I think, they're just a few plays away from being a Super Bowl team, and you've got them in your Super Bowl.
Yes, I do. I just think Josh Allen this year, I like him a lot.
I do as well. At number 2, I've got Kansas City. I think had they, won the Super Bowl last year, I would have put them at number 1. But they've got to rebuild that offensive line because obviously we saw what it was hurt in the Super Bowl, and it was not pretty.
No.
So, and then obviously at number 1, Tampa Bay, they return everybody. They got Tom Brady, year 22. I mean, why not put them at number 1? So that'll round out Colton's top 10.
Yeah, what do you expect from Brady tonight?
I don't know. We can kind of get into that now. We can talk about tonight's game. I really don't know. I'm expecting, the same old that we see every year. I mean, every time you bet against the guy, every time you think he's knocked down and he's done, he comes back and says, "Hey, I'm the greatest there ever was and there ever will be." It's kind of his MO.
Yeah, I'm just curious. When are we going to see that fall? I mean, it's got to happen.
I honestly thought we saw it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
When they had that first round loss where he looked bad against Tennessee, and I was like, everyone's like, "Is this it?" And then the next year goes to Tampa Bay and wins the Super Bowl. So I mean, you never know with this guy, and I think that's what frustrates a lot of people. I used to hate greatness. I used to hate LeBron. I used to hate Tom Brady. But then I realized that I'm like, dude, you are watching some of the best athletes and performers of your life. Like, appreciate it while it's there. Because before we know it, Tom Brady's going to retire. LeBron's going to retire. Yachty, Wayne, I mean, they're all going to retire. And it's going to be no more. So appreciate it while you got it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know what to expect tonight. I mean, on the Tampa Bay side, I mean, they're going to run with Leonard Fournette, but I think people are overlooking Ronald Jones a little bit. And by the way, I did play the Zeke Elliott 8.5 to 1 odds to score a touchdown tonight. So I like that. So give me Zeke.
Give you Zeke, and Tanner said earlier, I've been waiting to show this one. Tanner says, will Zeke have a good night in fantasy? He has to. He has been pretty not great since his, breakout. What was that, rookie year or second year?
Yeah.
And, he was by far the best running back in the league. But granted, he had the best offensive line to run behind. And it makes it a heck of a lot easier to do that. But Zeke has got to be better. For this team to be successful, they've got to be able to run the ball. They've got the weapons at the Dallas Cowboys have a championship-level offense, by far. But it's going to rely on if the defense is going to be able to get stops, because last year you saw that didn't happen. They got carved up like a Thanksgiving turkey every game, and their offensive line couldn't do anything. And without Dak, you see how bad that team is, which is why it wouldn't be a terrible option to pick up Cam Newton, in my opinion.
Right.
Great backup option. Cam won't want to be a backup, but he's got to realize at some point in his career, that's what he is.
Right.
So tonight, I'm expecting probably to see a good game. I think you're going to see a little bit of rust. I don't know how Dak's going to look. Didn't play a single preseason snap. I think they'll rely a little bit more on Zeke tonight to try and kind of get Dak back into the flow. But we'll see. I don't think Amari Cooper is active tonight as well.
You think he'll be active?
No, I don't think he is.
Oh, wow. I did not. Amari Cooper, huh? That's a big loss if he is. I thought he was. Well, I'll take a look at that here in a minute. I think he's active.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he's good to go tonight.
Okay, so that's going to help. Obviously, without him, that offense is not as great, but they still have a lot of good weapons with CeeDee Lamb. Obviously, Michael Gallup is a good weapon. The Cowboys have always kind of relied on a really good tight end. I don't know where they'll go in that department. I don't know who they have, to be honest.
I think it's Blake Jarwin, right? Is
it still Jarwin? I couldn't remember.
That's what I think. I don't know. I don't follow the Cowboys tight ends very often, but I think that's the guy they're going with. Yes.
I expect to see a good game tonight, in all honesty. And, football's back. Sit back, relax, enjoy it. We have a long few months of football ahead of us. Rejoice in it.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Thursday night, obviously, then into some college tomorrow. I know you're big into the high school scene, high school tomorrow, and then, of course, college Saturday and the big NFL on Sunday. So should be a great time. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, we'll end here with our pigskin pick'em. I sent you the picks earlier today. In week 1, I went 4-3. Not great, but a winning record. We're above 500, so that's all that matters. You, as my first guest, will be the honorary. You will hold first place for a week, and then we'll see where you go. I plan to kind of run it like a little bit like game day. See, where the guests rank week after week. So we'll go ahead with our pigskin pick'em here. The first game is the Orange and Blue Diamonds, as you like to call them, at Virginia. And I think you kind of alluded to this earlier, but I've got Virginia in this one.
Yeah, I do too. First road game for the boys, and I don't like their chances. I will take again. I think they say like go Who's. I need to figure that out. But yeah, I like Virginia.
Second game I have is number 12 Oregon visiting Ohio State number 3 at the Horseshoe. I'm going to take the Buckeyes in this one.
Yeah, me too. I don't know how high scoring it's going to be. I mean, I don't know if it's the pure shootout Oregon teams that we've seen in the past. Obviously, Ohio State's defense is better than a lot of teams in the Pac-12 that Oregon faces, but I think the Buckeyes win. It is like 14.5-point spread, though. I think I got to take the Ducks to cover that, but I'll take the Buckeyes to win the game.
Number 10, Iowa at number 9, Iowa State. It's the game of the week, rivalry game. I really like what I saw out of the Hawkeyes in week 1. As much as I hate to say it, I'm going to pick Iowa in this one.
And I will go with the home team, the Cyclones. If Matt Campbell's team wants to really be a contender, if they think that they are good enough to be a national title contender, which they're probably not, but if they think they are, they got to win this game. I will take the Cyclones at home.
Rodney's got the Cyclones in Iowa State. We move on to number 15, Texas, on the road at Arkansas. It'll be a good test for Texas on the road this week. I had them on my upset special, but I'm still going to take the Longhorns in this one.
Yeah, I think I will too, although, again, I'm with you. Like, I'm a little uneasy about it, but I think in the end, Texas is better. I'll take Texas.
We move from college to the NFL. Let's go Pittsburgh at Buffalo. I got Buffalo because they've got to have a good year, and I really like Josh Allen this year.
Yeah, and that's the game I believe we can see locally here in the Central Illinois area on CBS on Sunday with Kendrick Green. Congratulations to him, obviously, in his early on success. We'll see how successful he is on the field. I hope it's great success, but I will take Buffalo at home.
Pains me to see Kendrick Green in a Pittsburgh Steelers jersey. I was hoping he'd follow the Ravens, but it's a long-lost story. Second game I got, Seattle at Indy. I think this is going to be an interesting game. It's going to be an offense that we have no idea how they're going to perform, and a defense in Seattle we have no idea how they're going to perform. So I think this is going to be a close one, and I'm going to take the Seahawks on the road in week 1.
I will as well. I'll take Seattle. I too many question marks with Indianapolis. Like, is Carson Wentz going to play, but is he going to be effective? Can he do anything? If he doesn't play the whole game, Jacob Eason, question mark. Obviously no T.Y. Hilton, which he hasn't been effective in a while. I just don't know where they're going to go. I mean, Seattle's going to have to figure out how to stop JT, Jonathan Taylor, but I think Seattle wins this game on the road. Although that's tough going from Seattle to the East, the Eastern time zone. That's we've talked about that before. That's can be tough, but I'll take Seattle.
Cleveland at Kansas City. I think time might be. I wouldn't say catching up with them, but when you see a team so hot for so long, they start to fall back just a little bit. And I see Cleveland winning this one week 1.
At Kansas City, though, I don't know, man. Kansas City, the crowd there is going to be rocking. If Kansas City falls off, I don't believe it'll be week 1. I think you'll start seeing maybe a nagging injury with Mahomes, and it'll be that cycle that we see progression later on. I think Kansas City does get off to a good start. I'm going Chiefs at home here.
Rodney goes with the Chiefs at home. We move to Sunday Night Football on NBC. Bears at Rams, Lo-Fi Stadium. Rams, big time in this one.
Yeah, I think the Rams win. I don't know about big time, but I'll take the Rams. I mean, it's 7.5. Andy Dalton, I think, can possibly keep it close. That defense is supposed to be good. I mean, if they give David Montgomery his share, maybe keep it close. But in the end, I can't pick the Bears. I'll take the Rams as well at home.
From Sunday night to Monday night, Ravens at Raiders. I would have felt a lot more comfortable answering this question last night instead of tonight. But I got to roll with my team. Ravens, Monday night winner.
And I will be ornery and take the Raiders.
You just had to do it to me, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we've had what do we have 3 games different here, so maybe it'll shake out. I don't know, but I'll take the Raiders and somehow Vegas. Like I have a little affection for Vegas. I mean, it's Vegas. Come on. I mean, they're the Death Star, whatever they call that place, or I don't know what they call it. I'm going to be there in a couple weeks, but I don't know. Like I feel like Vegas is going to be excited for this, and somehow Derek Carr is going to be okay finally. I'll take the Raiders. I just praised Harbaugh, and now I think the Ravens are going to start 0-2, and I just praised him. I'm contradicting my whole self. 40 minutes lost there, Cole. We just wasted 40 minutes. I started the show saying the Ravens would be fine, and now I'll take them 0-2. I'll take the Raiders.
Rodney's going with the Raiders here. We moved to the Thursday night kickoff on NBC. Cowboys at Buccaneers. For pure sanity reasons in my household, I would like for the Cowboys to win, but I'm picking the Buccaneers.
Yeah, you got to pick the Buccaneers. The Zach Martin loss hurts. I mean, they were underdogs anyway. Yeah, I think you got to take the Buccaneers. Ryan mentions here. I'll throw this up. I know it's your show, but I'll throw it up here because he's our boss. Cowboys cover in the under. I don't know, man. Cowboys cover. I think they might cover, but I think it's going to be like a 14-point game, and they're going to score late. Like Vegas is going to be involved with this. The betting line is going to be involved with this somehow, some way. There's just too much going on in the world of sports betting that it doesn't play a factor late. I'll take the Buccaneers to win. I think Ryan's probably right. They'll probably cover under. So you're looking at something like Ryan's scenario would be something like 27-21 or something like that. So I'll take the Buccaneers to win. That's what you ask. All you ask is who's going to win. I'll take the Buccaneers.
So we'll see how Rodney shakes out next week. We'll put up his record on the show. But again, for the Thursday edition of the Colten Kahler Show, on Saturday mornings, Rodney Neuple, excuse me.
All right.
Colten Kahler, it's been fun, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, thanks for having me. Hey, good job. You're doing a good job. Keep it up. Enjoy that Saturday show, and good luck.
I appreciate it. Until then, see you next time.